Predaking readies his battle-hungry Predacon forces for an attack he hopes will finish the Autobots once and for all.
And welcome back. How are you? Thanks again for coming back to eBEFOREi video reviews. Today I'm taking a look at the Predaking. Now, this is the, I think, third, maybe fourth version of Predaking that we've gotten in the Beast Hunters line, but this is the simplified Voyager version. So this is different than the Skyfire version. This is actually technically Voyager class Series 3, figure number 2, and yeah, it's a simple Predaking. But simple does not mean that it's a bad figure. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. A face only a mother could love. Actually, it's not that bad. So the head's on this joint here, and you can tilt the head down and up, and a lot of different posability just in the neck, you know, as far as that's concerned. Nice orange paint, yellow in the eyes, silver in the mouth. It still has a kind of deal where the mouth won't open, unlike Beast Fire, and you still have that kind of you know, kind of a misformed top. I mean, that bit right there should be connected. You know what I mean? So the bottom jaw would be the one that opens up. But heck, what does it matter? None of it opens. Here's kind of a front shot of the head. So it looks pretty cool from the front. We'll go ahead and move the camera around just a little bit. Here's the other side of the figure. And again, there's lots of nice attention to detail in the plastic. I mean, look at the kind of bits coming off the neck right there, kind of a scaly dragon look, with still the screw rivets, you know, kind of fake in plastic, but it still looks cool. Now I'm going to back the camera way up here so you can get a really good feel of the scale of this figure. It's called Voyager on the box, but it's really, really big. Wings really don't go down much further than that. You're still hooked onto a tab, and you just don't have any more room to go down because of the other plastic pieces. But other than that, just beautiful figure. I like the smaller scale back legs there, which is a good bit different from the Beast Fire, and we'll get into that soon. Tail's kind of wide. I don't know if I love that, but you can pose that up and down. So as I'm turning this figure around, I mean, it just looks good. Underneath the figure, you do have, you know, you can kind of make out the robot, but it's not terrible. We'll lift him back up and look at some closer detail. I like the in-plastic molding that has the Cybertronian or the Predacon ancient writing, whatever it might be. And you see that right there on the plastic. You also see it on top of the wings in the translucent orange. Kind of see it right there in my lights. So that's pretty neat. The wings do bend at that joint, and we'll get more into that when we go into robot mode. Now the back legs look like they've got articulation, but it does move up and down, but there's no joint there. It's all molded plastic. So there's not going to be a lot that you can do posability. Same with the foot. It looks nice, but it's one solid piece. Now the front, you do have robot hand syndrome right there. From the front, it looks fine. The claws look good, but as soon as you turn them at an angle, you do have that kind of glaring issue. The front arms do bend, so you can pose the dragon up a little bit, but again, you can't really hide those back hands, so that is kind of a drawback. Now here he is on the top. You can get a good look at the figure, and I'll give you a closer look. Here's wacky over-the-top cam, and not a ton of kibble. I mean, it really does look good from the top. This is not quite just an upscaled version of the Voyager. This really is a unique mold with some similarities. Now you can move the wings up just like that and kind of get a cool perched look. Again, you can maneuver a few things around to make that look neat, but we'll go ahead and spread them back out. Now here's a closer look at that big thick orange tail. Cybertronian writing is cool, but just too thick for me. I wish they had made it just a bit thinner. The weapon comes off. Let's take a quick look at the weapon. It's a pressure launcher or friction launcher, whichever you want to call it. You can push this with the back of your thumb, and kind of weak. He's having some performance issues. That's what she said. Hopefully not. But yeah, that's so, you know, you can push it in. You expect it to fly halfway across the room, and at least in my version, It's pretty weak. There you go. Just hit it out of there. And that's what you get there. There's not really any place else you can stick this. I mean, it doesn't go there. There's nowhere really in the front. No pegs underneath. So, I guess the one place you want to put a weapon, kind of balance it in there. But yeah, I guess you're just going to have to stick that in his tail, because you never know when you're going to need a tail gun. Now, shaky cam comparison mode, you can see him side by side next to Beast Fire Predaking, and they're about the same size. Now, one of the big differences are the back legs. Beast Fire has that thick, chunky leg because it transforms differently versus the one I like better, which is the Simplified Voyager. Now, on the front, the hands are much better on Beast Fire because they just open up versus that nonsense. Which is really a shame. That really does detract from the figure because everything else is so good with this Simplified Voyager. Now, looking at the heads, the Beast Fire looks good when you move it down, but then the mouth opens and you have that tooth separation nonsense, and so I really do prefer it, again, on the Simplified Voyager. Now, comparing the back, you have this kind of a sleek, nice tail over here versus thick tail over here. Just so big, I just wish it were a bit smaller. But everything else, besides the thick tail and the funky front feet, I prefer the overall proportions and stance of this guy versus Beast Fire. Now let's get to transforming. First thing you want to do is you want to just open up these legs, and the tail is pegged in on 2 different pegs. So just pull that out, toss it aside for now. You want to come up to what become the legs, and these are tabbed in. So you just want to reach your hand in there, pull it out of the tab. This is on a real tight ratchet joint. You just want to get that down just like that. Now you're going to take that bit of the beast leg and just turn it down and fold it back inside of itself like that. So you're kind of filling in the hollowness, and rinse and repeat on the other side. Just pull it out, snap it out, take the little bitty leg, flip it down, and inside of itself, you've almost completely formed the legs. Take the foot bit and tip that forward so that you now have a heel for him to stand on, and the front of his foot. And you've basically finished the legs of your Predaking. Let's move on to the rest of the transformation. We're going to take Predababy's arms and just push him down, and you're just about done. You want to take the hand bit, and you're just going to turn it so that the beast claws go up into the forearm, and the hand spins down and just becomes a normal-ish hand. Do the same thing over here, just flip it, and you basically have the arms done. Now, you're not too far off from being complete. I'm just going to mess with the forearms a little bit. We're going to come around to the back. You're going to take the beast head, and you're just going to pull it down and tuck it right back there. Then come up to the robot head itself, and you're just going to flip it, because right there it's backwards. And we're just going to reach in there and turn it around. Now, the only thing left to do is to figure out how you want to pose his wings. So after I'm done fidgeting here with the arms for a second, you can come to the wings and you can push them down, which I kind of prefer. You can put them up like a bat. It's kind of cool. I don't quite prefer it that way. You can put them down and go around to the back and actually collapse in a little bit and hide them, sort of like a, like a bat wing not showing. Put them straight up for kind of a neat look. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with the wings before you pose up your figure. Once you figure out what you want to do, you're really done with the transformation. So at this point, you want to take your Predaking, stand him up, pose him up, and here we have the mighty Predaking in his robot mode. This looks really good to me. Now, you're not all going to agree with me, but I think Hasbro really did something right with this Simplified Voyager. Let's take a closer look. There's a face only your mother could love. No, I mean, it looks really good. This is an imposing looking figure. Looking at all of the details, nice color paint in the face, no light piping, just paint, orange and the yellow. Nice yellow paint on the sides, Predacon symbol right there. You can look in the abdomen, you've got some yellow paint right there. Coming down to the knees, Nice orange paint for the kneecaps, which covers that well. Very cool smoke translucent plastic that comes down to the gray feet. The translucent plastic really looks good all the way around on this figure. A lot of smoke translucent bits on the top. Now there is a lot of hollowness on the inside of the forearms, and I don't know why they didn't just fill that in. So that detracts a little bit, but you can pose them in ways that no one will really ever see it. Now notice I'm talking about a lot of compromises as I discuss this figure, and it's a shame. It's not perfect by any means. Let's back the camera up to get a better view, but it is a very nice looking figure, and I honestly feel like this is the best version of Predaking that's available to purchase today from the Beast Hunters line. Great lines all the way around. Now let's go ahead and grab Predaking's weapon, his little gun that he comes with. And you can take that and you can peg it right into his hand. So we'll go ahead and lift that up a bit. And it goes right into, the slot, but it's kind of a very obvious place for you to put it. It doesn't really look like it's a finger or a grip or anything. But once it's in there, he holds it pretty well. And again, if you want your Predaking to hold a weapon, he can. You can also peg in his mighty tail sword. What does the box call this thing? Infernum sword, says the box. And not a terrible look. It looks like a big kind of a hatchet cleaver, like he's ready to go into the kitchen and make some seafood. I don't know what that means. But he's got this very imposing weapon that I think works better as a sword than it does a tail. Now you can take the gun. Suppose if you want to peg it back in for a tail gun, you can. But that's just silly, so don't do that. Now the comparison that everybody wants to see. How does he stack up next to Beast Fire Predaking? Pretty darn well, actually. He's every bit as tall. In fact, I think he's a little bit taller. Yeah, he is a little bit taller than Beast Fire Predaking. He's very much imposing, but very streamlined. Let's back the camera up and get a better look from a distance here. And you can see the way they stack up next to each other. And I really, again, this is just my opinion. You can have a different opinion. But I think that the Simplified Voyager is just a better looking robot mode all the way around. Now, okay, maybe not on the back. I do like the way that the legs look on the back of Beast Fire. But everything else, to me, you've got a winner in the Simplified Voyager. Now let's get into some articulation. Head's not on a ball joint. You can really just turn it left and right. The shoulder, you've got ratchets both in the shoulder, in the forearm. You have no wrist articulation. You do not have any waist articulation. You do have a dual hinge on the hips. Knees are on that real tight ratchet, and no real foot pivot. Now, surprisingly, or maybe not, there's still quite a bit of good posability that you can get with this guy. Despite some limitations in articulation, he's certainly not as limited as your typical Voyager character. Again, similar in the mold, but it is a unique mold, and there's still quite a bit that you can do to make him look cool and pose him up on your shelf. Now, I heard some rumors from the recent 2014 Toy Fair that these guys might be delayed, or they might end up, in limited release. I don't know. We'll see. I've not seen one in the wild yet, but now I wouldn't go paying crazy prices for this. But if you see this figure in the store for $20, $25, I definitely think this is worthy of a pickup. It's a wonderful figure. He looks great in both modes, and at least for me personally, he's replaced Beast Fire Predaking on my shelf. This is the one that I have, and perfectly happy with it. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching eBEFOREi video reviews. If you'd like to follow me and you're watching this video at some rogue channel somewhere, come back to my channel and subscribe to me. I'm at youtube.com/eBEFOREiNet, and all of your subscriptions mean so much to me. It's free to you, and you just find out whenever I have new videos to show you. You can also go to my Facebook page for all kinds of posts and pictures. My Facebook page is facebook.com/eBEFOREi, and you can tweet me. I'm at eBEFOREiNet. So, thanks again. We'll see you back here real soon.